Monday morning, time to drive home. So the car here shows 99% and 185 miles. It is still plugged in, but it is sitting out there preheating. So I did preheat it earlier and let it go for the full preheat time of, I believe it's 20 minutes. And then we loaded up and then I started to preheat again. And so now it shows 99%. We gotta get going. We gotta get the EVSE unplugged and packed up and get out of here. So this morning it actually did some battery conditioning, as you can see there, which is shrinking right now while the climate control is growing and the driving part is growing. But yeah, it was I believe 3 degrees this morning when I started the preheat the first time around, and so at that same time it did some battery conditioning. So we are about halfway to Ennis, Montana, and as you can see we're going 70 miles an hour, which is the speed limit. The ring around the speedometer is kinda almost olive green, it's kinda yellowish, so it's a relatively high consumption right now. Well, now we're going uphill, now it's going up, but about 30 kilowatts right there. But if you look over by the range, you can see the green line goes all the way up to max. And this is the difference between driving to Island Park or driving back home from Island Park. So going to, that green line wasn't there, it went actually yellow and pretty much all the way down because we were gaining elevation continuously. Even though we're going a little bit uphill right now, overall we are actually going downhill, and so we save a lot of energy like that. So that makes a huge difference. Going from Butte to Island Park, we need everything we have in this car, especially in the winter time, and may even have to slow down. Can't go to 70, gotta go 55 or 60 to make it. But going back, it's a much different story because we're basically going downhill all the time. It makes a huge difference in consumption, and so we can go faster and maybe still even get there with more range left than going the other way. I don't know if you can see that brown spot out there. Those are elk. That's a herd of elk way out there. Near Ennis, you always, especially on the south side of Ennis, you get to see lots of elk usually, and you get to see antelope south and north of Ennis quite frequently. So it's pretty cool when you come through here. You get to see those huge herds of elk. We are in Cardwell and are about to get on Interstate 90 towards Butte, and you can see the green line is still going up a little, not as much as we had to climb a couple hills, and we got 50% showing at 100 miles. So, and this will go away pretty quick now as we are getting on the interstate right here. Here we go, and so the green line will quickly change to yellow going down as we're speeding up, and we'll lose range really quick here before we get to Butte. The question is how much we'll lose. So we got plenty left, so at this point we can basically go pretty fast. The speed limit here is 80 miles per hour. So there we go. You can see the ring around the speedometer is bright yellow, meaning we're using a lot of power. Shows about what, 40 some kilowatts there roughly. So we're using quite a lot, and now you can see the line is going down towards minimum, and it will work its way pretty quickly all the way down to minimum there at this speed. And then we also have to get over Homestake Pass. The speed limit there is a little lower, and we'll go slower just because of all the turns, but you can see how speed eats up your range really quick. So we are in Butte right now, and we're going to a place called John's, Pork Chop John's, to have some pork chop sandwiches. Since we need something to do while we're charging.
Welcome, Pork Chop John's. What can I serve for you?
Hi, we'd like the pork chop sandwich fully loaded.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. You too. All right, on our way back, or on our way to the Electrify America charger in Rocker. So we got to get back on the interstate and go a few more miles. And once I get there, I'll show you how much the 80 mile an hour and the pass ate away on the range here really quick. We are now at the Electrify America DC fast charger in Rocker, which is the truck stop just outside Butte. And you can see it's showing 25%. So that means in reality it's between 20 and 25. We don't know exactly where it is, but you can see it ate up a lot of range just getting onto the interstate, going 80 miles an hour and going over the pass there. So, but that said, we have more left this time than we had coming from Missoula to here. And we have more left than we had left arriving at the cabin from here. So it is downhill, and it saves a lot of energy with this elevation drop. And we even went faster and still saved some. It is now 12:32. Here it is 35 degrees out. As soon as we came over the pass, the temperature dropped about 10 degrees. It was over 40 on the other side of the Continental Divide. And we have used 50.2 kilowatt hours and drove 154.5 miles this morning already. So now let's get plugged in. All right, so we should be good charging. Can't see it, the sun is shining on the display again, as it was last time, because it's about the same time. But we're showing 48 kilowatts coming in, 49. And well, as always, it wasn't smooth. I had to run the payment twice, which is the Electrify America Pass that I have on my phone. Yeah, it's just seems to be never ever smooth with Electrify America. But now it's time to eat pork chop John's sandwiches. Got a little ice cream before leaving, but now it's already time. I don't know if you can see that, but it shows 100%. The funny thing is, the green light here on the dash is still blinking even though we are at 100%. And according to this, it's still bringing power in. But anyway, let's get out there and unplug it. 100%, $15.04. Oh, there it goes. $15.27. What the heck? All right, an hour and 35 minutes, and we got 50.862 kilowatt hours in, according to this. I don't know if you could see any of this, but well, let's close this up and let's get going. So it shows we got 225 miles max, minimum 156, and the minimum should basically get us home. It's about 150 miles, so, and the average of 191. So we'll see if we can go the speed limit and make it home. we're home. It shows 15%. That means we got somewhere between 10 and 15%, but we did really, really good. I mean, I was surprised. It was actually good road conditions and no wind, and it was downhill basically from Butte to Missoula. That's another 2,000 feet elevation decline, and the temperatures were decent. We're now again at freezing. We were around freezing in Butte, and it came up to maybe about 40 degrees and went back down. And it is only 4:17. I expected to be here at 5, so we did really good for the whole trip. We used 106.2 kilowatt hours, drove 299.8 miles, so it's basically 300 miles each way. And we used 91% for driving, climate settings 8%, anytime under 10 is great. Battery conditioning still sits at 1% because it did condition this morning, so it still sits there. I did fiddle with this from Butte to home. From the cabin to Butte, I had it on auto, but then it was nice and sunny in Butte and it was nice and warm in here. So I basically had it turned off for a while, then the windows got foggy, then I turned it back on, but I set it to recirc. I made sure heat and AC are off. The fan was still on auto, and the temperature setting I think was 69 or 70 at the time. And eventually the windows fogged up even more, or again, and eventually it got a little chilly without the heat in here. It started blowing a little cold, and so I just turned the heat back on and left it like that pretty much for the rest of the drive. So we did pretty good. Overall for the drive, only 2.8 miles per kilowatt hour. That is just reality in a cold climate. Can't do much about it, but still we done another 150 miles here from 100%. We did pretty good there. The Chevy app said that we will get home with 7% if we leave at 88. We put 12 more percent in than 88. We went to 100. So 7 plus 12 would be 19. Yeah, we didn't quite make that, huh? So it used a little bit more, but it was pretty close. I can't look on the app right now to see what exactly it is percentage-wise because we have no reception here. So we're kind of stuck looking at this here. We know we have somewhere between 10 and 15%. So overall we did pretty good. Did a total of 717.4 miles on this trip. That is about 600 for and back, plus about 117 going over to west twice. So I got a good helper. She's already unloading. We got all this stuff in here to unload. So we, 2 people, a little extra weight with all the stuff we carried. So that always eats away on the range a little bit too. But yeah, it was a pretty darn good trip. I'm surprised on how well it did coming back because we actually went the speed limit of 80 miles per hour. There was a couple stretches like through Missoula, about 13 miles or so, where it's limited to 65. So obviously we went 65, but we did 80 miles per hour, most of it, pretty much as you come out of Butte till Missoula, and then after Missoula to home again. So it did really, really good. And again, you can go the distance. Which part sucked of this whole trip is sitting in Butte for an hour and 54 minutes, according to Electrify America. We sat there an hour and 54 minutes on the way to the cabin. We went across the interstate to eat, so that took some time, but still there was about 50 minutes we really didn't have anything to do. And it's just a Bolt problem because it only charges at 50 kilowatts. But we're not doing this every day. So, I mean, this was, I don't know, the second time this year or so with the Bolt. So it's really not a big deal. Coming actually was it's one time there and then one time back. Back obviously we did much better, so we had already a higher state of charge when we got there, and it went a little quicker. We saved about 20 minutes or so, only about an hour and 30 minutes. Problem there was we picked up lunch and we just ate it in the car, which the lunch was really tasty, and that was the way to go, much better than walking over there to McDonald's or Subway. So the lunch was tasty, but still we sat pretty much the whole time in the car. And so after we ate, we just kind of played on our phones. And yeah, shortly before we were to 100%, we decided to go get some ice cream. Came back out, ate a little ice cream, and then it was time to go before we finished the ice cream. So yeah, charging with the Bolt can be a little painful if there is really nothing around. But other locations can be better. I don't think it gets much worse than these, than this one in Butte. Most Electrify Americas we've been to with the Bolt, like from our Seattle trip, they had stuff there. There was Walmart there. There was multiple other restaurants there in other places. It was really not bad. It's just this trip over here, going there, this is our only option. There's no Electrify America in Bozeman. So like if we would choose to go from Island Park to Bozeman and then take the interstate back like we did on our recent trip with our 2013 Model S, then in Bozeman, no Electrify America. I found the Audi dealership has eConnect, I believe it is. 2 chargers there, 2 CCS that do 65 kilowatts, which that is enough for the Bolt. The Bolt tops out at 50. So we could have done that, but I felt this morning, I felt a little stressed and kind of, we needed to get home, and it is a detour going through Bozeman to begin with. And depending on how the weather would have turned out and the road conditions and what if the charger didn't work. I've never been there before. I downloaded the app for them and it said they're both available. I looked on PlugShare and it said, well, the rear charger doesn't do this and the front charger doesn't do that or something. So there was some reviews that, yeah, that didn't make me feel really great going that direction, because other than that, there was only the Harley dealer, and the reviews on PlugShare pretty much said 2 months ago already that the charger is shut down for the season, because I guess the Harley dealer is serving motorcycles mostly, and so they just shut it down because nobody rides a motorcycle. So the Audi dealer would have been the only option, and I didn't feel like taking that risk this morning. So yeah, that is still the problem. The problem still is finding enough chargers, but there's more and more. I mean, yeah, that Audi dealer, that is relatively new, those chargers there. So, I mean, there is more chargers coming and things will get easier. And as distances between chargers shrink, you can actually drive faster and even then let it drop low and charge up to maybe just 50-60% and blast over to the next charger. So these things will improve, and here in Montana there is few and far in between in regards to those chargers. But if you would travel along the East Coast or the West Coast, it's really not such a big deal. There's lots and lots and lots of chargers. Yeah, they're all different networks, and you probably have 27 RFIDs and 50 apps or whatever, I don't know. But you can travel pretty quick there because you have many options to charge. Also, if one charger is down, it's usually not too far to find another charger. And if you use PlugShare to find those chargers and kind of look around to plan your trip a little bit, it should not be a problem at all to travel along East or West Coast. Here in Montana, a little tougher. Many other states are not as bad. And if you don't have extreme cold like we do here, then that helps. If you have dry roads, that helps a lot. Even if you're in a hot climate, you have dry roads, you just get much farther, you have more range. Here, if you have snow on the roads, you have wet roads, you have cold, that just eats away massively on the range. But overall, I'm pretty happy again with the Bolt. We were comfy sitting in here. Everything functioned fine. We didn't have any issues really. Not with the Bolt anyway. There was one funny thing. We came into Harrison, and you have to slow down. There's a school there, and so it's a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. And so I just slowed down and kind of roll along there a little bit, hold my foot on the accelerator pedal so we don't come to a complete stop, because I do single pedal driving. And so we come down to the 25 miles, we pass the school, and then I want to speed up again, and it doesn't speed up. And I'm like, what the heck's going on? And I was like, what? Oh, no, something broken now? And I was like, oh, I don't know. And so I look on the dash, and I see it shows I'm in neutral. And I'm like, why am I in neutral all of a sudden? And so I'm kind of looking down to the shift lever down there, and what do I see? My daughter's leg is resting on it. So she just pushed it far enough forward to shift it in neutral at that point. Man, that was a little scary there. Because you don't want to break down out in Harrison. That is still, I don't know, quite a ways. The next tow truck would probably be in Whitehall. And so it would be a little expensive probably to get this thing towed. And I don't know what Chevy would pay. We only got, what, 16,000 some miles on it. So maybe they would pay for the tow, whatever. But it would kind of suck no matter what. But luckily, yes, it was just the other's leg that was resting on the shift lever. That's another reason to get rid of this old clunky shift lever and probably bring it up here somewhere. Either have a dial or a push button, or have it on a stalk or something, rather than this old clunky shift lever down there. All right, well, this was another cool trip with our Bolt. We still love this thing, besides having 2013 Tesla and 2018 Tesla, well, 2013 Model S and 2018 Model 3. They're all great cars. They're all different. They all do the job. And some do a little better here and some do a little better there. So it depends on what you do, which car you want to drive. So I'll probably will be doing a comparison between the 2013 Model S and this Bolt right here, because they're basically in the same price range right now. Yes, one is used and 9 years old. The other one, you can buy a Chevy Bolt right now for the same price as you can buy a 2013 Model S, and that's why I will compare them. So make sure that you are subscribed and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on that comparison, because that may be something interesting. If you're looking in the price range of a Bolt but you would like to have some more car, maybe the Model S is an option as a pre-owned for you. So yeah, make sure you stay tuned. In any event, please give us a thumbs up for this video. And as I said, subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the future videos. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.